This video makes me sad to make because many of you are not going to take it seriously. I admit I used a provocative title, but it accurately reflects my views on this matter. A lot of preppers are going to die when the lights go out. I've been visiting some of your channels, and what I'm seeing is so alarming that I thought it was time to make a video because I am very concerned. I wanted to take a moment to help us put things into perspective. I'm a combat veteran. I've been shot at and shot back. I have what they refer to as a lot of trigger time. I'm not boasting. If you think I am, then you are probably one who needs to hear this video because you have glorified combat and it isn't glorious. It is dirty, it is nasty, and it is brutal. When the stuff hits the fan, when the lights go out, when we have chaos and disorder, it's going to be a whole lot like war. War is not a 24/7 rolling gun battle. It's not Black Hawk Down all day and all night. It's not magic bullets fired from the hip on full auto, one shot, 2 kills. It's not hand grenades that make huge balls of flame. When you shoot a car and you hit the gas tank, it doesn't blow up and flip in the air unless you shoot it with a tank. Bad guys don't have the common courtesy to stand up in straight lines so we can mow them down. In fact, they don't think it cowardly at all to take cover as they do their absolute utmost with all their skill, cunning, and ability to try and kill you. If you are smart, you'll do the same. Anyone who thinks it's cowardly for an enemy to shoot at you from hiding has no idea what combat is about. No idea whatsoever. It is not like Hollywood, although a few movies like Saving Private Ryan and Band of Brothers certainly came close to emulating it in many places, especially that beach scene in the first movie, you know, where the guy gets his arm blown off and things like that. People crying and screaming. That's accurate. Most of the time a soldier spends doing anything but fighting. We sleep, we eat, we move in vehicles, on foot and by helicopter. We maintain our vehicles, our weapons, our equipment, and our bodies. We stand guard duty when nothing happens and you have to fight boredom, sleep, and imagination. When we get a chance for some MWR, that's morale, welfare, and recreation, we are on it like a duck on a June bug. Usually, though, we just sleep. In any of our spare time, when we don't have to think about something critical, we think of being someplace else, someplace it does not suck. Many of our patrols are boring and hot and uneventful. Although your nerves are on edge as you wait for that IED blast, that means you or someone in your convoy got hit. The first shot fired is your foot patrol, and you fall behind cover, and then you check yourself to make sure you're not the one that got hit. Then you scramble for cover and you try to figure out where the hell those SRBs are at so you can kill them. In those moments, you're on an emotional roller coaster. You get angry, and then you get scared, you get stupid, and you do something crazy. You tell yourself you're not afraid to die and you want to suddenly live because you suddenly think of something that makes you want to live. You move to a better position, and on the way you figure your body armor will stop that bullet. Then you think of all the places that aren't covered by your body armor. You think, well, if I get wounded, I'll make it out. Then you think about your friends that didn't make it out. You remember your buddy that you went down to the flight line and picked up his body the other day in that body bag. You worry about getting shot in the neck and being a quadriplegic for the rest of your life, with your wife giving you a sponge bath, and then you think about what's she going to think when she can't make love anymore with me? Is she going to stay with me? Things like that run through your mind. And when it's over, you're all amped up on adrenaline and you feel invincible. Then later you crash and you get depressed. Mostly though, war is just a grind. You grind it out and you think about what you're going to do when you get home. When the lights go out for us, and they're going to go out, I'm very sure of that, it'll be similar to this. We will have moments of combat and violence and having to fight. They will be intense, and when it is, you had better bring your best game because your enemy will be on his. Most of the time, we will be working and homesteading and trying to get around all the difficulties of having no infrastructure, no government, nothing we are used to right now. None of the things that we currently take for granted. Why do I think so many of you are going to die? I'll tell you, and I hope you listen closely. You presume because you have some training and weapons that your opponents somehow are not possibly better armed and trained than you are. You are making the #1 major flaw of combat. You are underestimating your enemy. This is why so many of you are going to die. When I fought the Taliban, the terrorists, the Baathists, insurgents, and the rest, I hated them. I also had respect for their capabilities. I never underestimated them. I was never one of those crowing little roosters, most of whom fought the war from a keyboard stateside, and called our enemies cowards for fighting smart. Listen, if America were occupied by a military that had tanks and armor and airplanes and smart bombs and helicopters and night observation devices and all these other things, and I had none of the above, I would definitely be using IEDs and fighting from hiding. I would be doing everything I could to preserve my forces so that I can continue to fight another day. It's not even a subject for debate. 99% or maybe 99.9% of the time, you will not be engaged in combat of any kind. I hope it's 100% of the time. I truly hope none of you are attacked, that none of us are attacked, but I know that's not realistic. When that 1% time comes, you will have underestimated completely and you will lose. Some amateur is going to shoot you from the bushes when you are going to the outhouse. They won't all be stupid. Even if only 1% of the masses of unprepared people survive the initial bloodletting, the riots and the fighting, that 1% who come out of it will be nearly 3 million people. They will be battle hardened. They will be the ones who learned quick and adapted, improvised, and overcame. They will be the cream of the crop of the unprepared. They will be mean, they will be nasty, they will be capable, they will be well armed, and they will be ruthless. Therefore, I suggest you start taking this seriously. Here is my philosophy as a warrior. I pray to God I never have to kill someone again. I pray to God I don't have to be in combat again. However, if and when I am, I will do all I can to be the most lethal weapon on the battlefield that day. I know that my enemy will show me no mercy, no quarter, and be ruthless and skilled. I will not be lulled into a false sense of security. I will always presume he is better trained and equipped than me at all times. This means I am well armed and very skilled in the use of my arms. Let me tell you a good idea. Let's say you can pinch off $1,000 for a weapon, and you spend it all on some fancy pistol and a half a dozen magazines. You're going to be killed by someone with a $100 or cheaper rifle that is going to shoot you from outside of pistol range. I'll tell you something else as a professional soldier. In war, a pistol is a backup weapon. You come to a gunfight with a pistol and I have a rifle, I will kill you. I don't care how much of a high-speed death machine you are. Unless you sneak up on me within pistol range, I will shoot you from 200 yards. That being said, I realize that now, while we live in a civilized society, civilized, quote, we cannot walk around with a rifle slung around our neck, low ready. We have to carry concealed. Got it. I understand. Still, if you don't have a good battle rifle at home, you will be that person who wins the battle and loses the war. You will survive the pre-lights out scenario we live in today, and you'll die within a month when the lights do go out. On the note of weapons, oh man, I see people putting huge mega cash into their weapons with scopes that aren't zeroed, fancy, sexy gizmos that weigh the weapon down needlessly and hamper the performance, and almost no real training being done. If I were told to train a squad of men to go out and conquer the area, I would give them basic good carbines, an ACOG scope, and spend the rest of the money on a giant pile of ammunition so we could practice, and practice some more. Did you know it takes 1,000 repetitions or more of any given action to develop muscle memory so that you will do that action under pressure? That is how you must train for combat. That is how you must train for war. Because if not, and you have to take time and think about things like changing magazines and clearing a stoppage in your weapon, acquiring targets and the rest, you are going to lose. You are going to get lost in all of the confusion and the fear and the yelling and the shouting and the gunfire going around you. You must have 1,000 repetitions of any given thing. So let me ask you this. Have you done 1,000 practices of loading and unloading your weapon? Have you practiced clearing a stoppage 1,000 times? How about your pistol? Have you done all of this for your pistol as well? Have you practiced drawing your pistol 1,000 times and acquiring a target? Have you practiced transition firing rifle to pistol? If not, you're behind the power curve right now. Does your training include inducing artificial stress? Do you think the enemy are going to stand up like little targets on the range? That may be a really good place to start, and that's where I recommend. Don't go out there and start running before you crawl. It's crawl, walk, and then run, all right? But if you're past the crawl phase, we need to get to walking and running. Look, the bad guys aren't going to stand there like targets, like zombies in nice little rows and have the common courtesy to step out from behind cover while they shoot at us. They are going to be little tiny targets moving around, and you're going to be under stress. So you need to induce this artificial stress. You need to get out on the range, and you need to start practice. Remember 1,000 repetitions of any given action to develop muscle memory. Look, if you're not going to do all of this, you might as well just sell your weapons now and take a really nice vacation with the money so that when you die, you'll have some good memories on the way out. Prioritize. Instead of spending money on custom-made titanium parts and sexy toys for your M4 carbine, you really need to be putting that money into an ACOG scope and a big pile of ammunition so that you can practice. If you've done all that and you can do the titanium parts, if you think that's necessary, fine. I personally can't justify it. My soldiers and I have been very effective in combat with standard issue M4s, ACOGs, standard issue magazines, and standard issue ammunition. I never use my pistol in a firefight, ever. It is a backup weapon in a full-blown war, and that is just what it will be when the lights go out, a full-blown war. Now don't get me wrong, you may find having a pistol to be handy, but not in place of a rifle. You don't want a $1,000 pistol and a $200 rifle either. Set your priorities straight. A backup weapon doesn't have to be high-end, high dollar. So let me ask you this. If it's a backup weapon, why are you carrying 100 rounds of ammunition and magazines on your fighting rig? Folks, please hear me out. This is the 4th of July. This is a perfect time to fix this. This is a great benchmark day. Practice so you can preserve the priceless legacy of freedom handed us by so much treasure and blood by our ancestors. You can even practice dry firing at me here on the screen because I know I've probably irritated you, and I hope I've provoked you in a loving way by telling you the exact God's honest truth to get out there and start doing what you know you need to do. If you haven't begun an earnest training program, go see my brother Steve. He's at Safe Arms Review. A link to his channel is up on my channel page. Make this 4th of July the beginning of a new chapter in your preparedness. Get ready, folks, because it's coming for sure. Thank you.